Hello everybody and welcome to this video where I am going to be discussing the crazy situations that have happened to me over Facebook Marketplace. Things that go awry while trying to buy stuff in the chat, but also things that have gone awry while trying to pick up items. I have such a love-hate relationship with Facebook Marketplace because on the one hand, it really is the place where I have found so many incredible treasures for my home and things that I would not have been able to afford if I bought them new, or things that I would not have been able to find like so beautifully made or so unique or antique in a new store. But on the other hand, it's insane. It's just insane. And it really does feel like the Wild West. Like, it's ruthless, it's crazy, people are wild on there, they're so unpredictable. But if you can win the game, you do win treasures. So I'm gonna take you around the house, show you different items that I love, but tell you the wacky stories that I had to go through to get them. Before we start our tour, let's do a word from our sponsor. Today's video is brought to us by Book of the Month. Book of the Month is an online book subscription for readers. What they do is every month their editorial team picks through hundreds of new titles, including popular titles, new titles, and books from emerging authors, and they give you an option from a variety of different genres for you to pick from. They've just introduced audiobooks as well, so now you can pick from hardcover books or from audiobooks. Shipping is always free, and they have a great skip policy, which means that for whatever reason, if you need to skip a month, you can, no questions asked. The books they sent me this month are What the River Knows by Isabel Ibanez and Let Us Descend by Jasmine Ward. Thank you so much to Book of the Month for sponsoring this video. If you would like to check them out, you can get your first hardcover book for only $9.99 if you use my code, Ariel. It's down in the description. Use my link. Check them out. It's a great service. And let's now head on over to this furniture. Let's just start with this pink couch back here. So this chaise lounge is one of my favorite pieces of furniture in the house. It is so comfortable. I love the color. It's pink. I love the material. It's velvet. And it's a little extra for sure, but I think in a really fun, eccentric way. The main thing is I just really wanted a reading chair in this office where I could be like actually comfortable. And when I tell you that this is just the comfiest spot imaginable, I'm being serious. It's so cozy and everything went well with the sale where like I messaged the person who was selling it and I negotiated the price and stuff and figured out a pickup date. The only thing that happened with this couch that was surprising was that it was so difficult to get out of the person's apartment. And I feel like they should have explained that because they really didn't. Thank God I was with my boyfriend because I would not have been able to carry this out. First of all, it was just it's so much bigger than I imagined it being. And I'm glad for that now because it's so cozy and like you really sink into it in a lovely way. But at the time, it was just difficult. Like it's just huge and quite heavy. And she lived in like a basement apartment underneath a deck. And so the door was really crammed. Getting it out of her apartment was really hard. We had to go like up these like stairs under the deck thing. It was like leaking down off of the patio deck onto her door. So it was like a drip hazard. And it almost didn't fit in the car, which was such a nightmare. When you're buying something on Facebook Marketplace, you're obviously not paying the person to help you move it. But I have had so many instances where the person, as I'm talking to them, explains like, by the way, I want you to know, like, this is really heavy and I can't help you lift it. And then I'm like, cool. Very good to know. I will bring my boyfriend and we won't wear fancy clothes because we were going to a party right after. So we were wearing like not good moving outfits and it was just a little bit of a fracasso. But we did get it out of there. We shoved it into the car and drove it home. And like, I'll just never move it again. This is where it will live for the next 60 to 80 years. Okay. This is on the other side of the office under one of the big windows. This is this settee, this vintage couch that I bought a couple of years ago, and I'm obsessed with, more aesthetically than comfort-wise, whereas the other chaise lounge is a little bit like, it's not the prettiest piece, it's cute, and it's very functional and comfortable. This is not very functional or comfortable. It's very narrow, and so it's not like lovely to lay in long term, but it is beautiful, and it does work for like sitting and chatting and stuff. So it is useful. Like everything on Facebook Marketplace, I put in an offer, we negotiated on the price for a little while, and eventually landed on a price I was happy with because it was a bit of a drive. And eventually we got there. I went again with my boyfriend. He goes on a lot of Facebook Marketplace adventures with me. But we got to this place, and this has never happened to me before, but instead of getting to someone's house, we got to a bed and breakfast. It was an inn. And I was like, this just seems wrong. This seems really wrong. But we went in, and the lady was there. She was expecting me, and she explained that her and her husband had owned this bed and breakfast for a really long time, but that they were going to sell the place because they were going to downsize from a bed and breakfast to a van. And they were going to like go travel North America for their retirement, which is just they seemed like the coolest people ever. And their bed and breakfast was so beautifully furnished, and probably they had purchased it with some of like antique furniture that came with it, but I think that they had really added a lot to it. It was such a beautiful building. It was so cool to get to just spend like 10 minutes with her and have her show me around and tell me about her plans to live in a van. I just thought she was the coolest lady ever, and she threw in this cushion, which is awesome, and I got to bring this baby home. So I love the story that is attached to the couch. I think it's such a pretty piece, but also a lovely story, and I always think about that weird bed and breakfast situation. It was so weird just, okay, and lifting it out. I felt like I was stealing it. I didn't, I paid for it, but it felt odd to take it from a bed and breakfast. On to the next. Okay, we're at the piano. So this piano I bought a few years ago, and I think it was a little bit of an impulse buy, and also like a slightly desperate move. I had moved into the house, I'd only been here a few months, and I just missed a lot of the things that I had in my old life, and I was missing having a piano, so I thought, what the hell, I'm just gonna buy a piano. We'll find a spot for it. It has since then been a little bit of a nightmare because it's so giant. Pianos are just so giant. But it comes full circle and becomes a lovely story again, because I have started taking piano lessons again, and it's been so fun, and I'm so grateful that I have it, and I love this piano, and we recently had it tuned, which was cool, and the guy who tuned it said that he liked it a lot, that he liked my piano, and so I feel that I made a good purchase. But because of the video, you know that I bought this on Facebook Marketplace, and the price of pianos is shocking. Like, even when I was a kid, because I took piano lessons from 7 to 17, and my dad went to school for music, like, I remember going to piano stores and how expensive the pianos were, and the concept of buying a piano was a very expensive purchase and concept, and even used pianos went for a lot. Now you're like almost paying people to get the piano out of your house. Like, they go for so cheap, and I think if I recall correctly, I got this piano for $100 because it was in good shape, and the guy explained that his daughter played piano and that they had kept it tuned, which is huge, so they had kept it tuned for a long time. And so I decided to buy it. The lunacy is that, like, it was so cheap, right? It was $100. It was from just a guy in the countryside selling his piano. It was not a piano moving company, and if I hired a piano moving company, it would be like really expensive and everything. It would just, the whole concept, the whole point of me getting the piano at the time that I was really fixated on this idea was like, it's gonna be so quick and easy, so cheap, so simple. And so I just rented a U-Haul trailer for one day. And I think the U-Haul trailer cost like 25 bucks. So I went to the U-Haul place, I got the trailer attached to my, to my Jeep, got my brother and my boyfriend, again, thank God that I brought both of them, and we drove to this random person's house. When I got there, I saw the piano, and again, miracle of all miracles, it was in their basement, and it was a walkout basement. So there was no stairs involved, which I had confirmed and was the reason that I had said no to a lot of other pianos, because they're like, you are gonna have to go down a flight of stairs. How? How? I get that you're selling the piano for $50, but I'm gonna have to pay hundreds of dollars for a piano mover to move this piano down a flight of stairs. But anyhow, show up, basement apartment, walk in, see the piano, try the piano out. It's great. Love the piano. Say, yes, sir, let's get this piano. And again, thankfully, the man who was selling the piano, and I think it was his son, they were there and they were really lovely and they were very helpful. And so the five of us just shoved the piano onto the trailer. It was so inelegant. It was so like just brute force. We just need to get this piano onto that trailer. And we were all shoving and grunting. It was really quite silly. And we finally got it on the trailer and it just fit just right, which is perfect because when I closed it, it really snugged it in and then we strapped it down and then I drove very slowly home. Of course, the funny part is that once we get home, I no longer have those two men to help push the thing. So we... My memories of the whole piano debacle are just so crystal clear in my mind. I drove the trailer, like reversed it, and this was a whole mess because if you've ever driven a car with a trailer attached, you know how annoying it is. Like to move it, to reverse, it just always moves in the way you don't think it's gonna move. But anyway, I somehow managed to reverse the trailer right onto my front door. We opened the little gate so that it was right in front of my front door, and then we just pushed the piano and it rolled into the house. And then I returned the trailer, and so the whole thing cost me less than $150, but it was so much work. It was such a mess. It just felt so, the whole thing felt so silly. But now we have the piano, and I love the piano. And when I renovate this living room, I'm definitely going to like work around the piano a little bit. I don't want it to be here. I want it to, whenever this room gets established and this wall behind me gets removed and the living room becomes a lot bigger, I want it to be on that side of the room. But I am going to be like thinking in my designs, where can this piano fit? Because I've become emotionally attached. So let's now move down to the ground. Okay, we're down on the ground because I want to talk about this carpet. This carpet actually inspired this video. When I got the carpet, it was so ridiculous that I think I actually said out loud in the car ride home, I need to make a video about the silly things that happen when I try and get things off of Facebook Marketplace. Like our stories so far, which will not be the case for all of them, but was again for this one, the actual communication on Facebook went great. Negotiated the price, found a price that I liked, things worked out, got a time that I would go pick it up, and we showed up. After we showed up, things just went weird. We went up to the front door, we knocked on the door, the lady showed up, but she like wouldn't come close to the door, and she said, "This is the wrong door. You guys need to go to the other door." And I was like, oh, okay. And then we go to the other door. And then at the other door, she just acted really friendly. So it was sort of like the first door didn't exist. Like she didn't want to acknowledge that that had happened. As we're walking in, she says, the carpet's all ready to go as long as you like it. It's just that we have to move the organ off of it. And Connor and I were following her. We just look at each other like, what did she just say? Did she just say we have to move an organ off of the carpet. And we get to the room. I see the carpet. It's lovely. I really like this this rug. But there was, in fact, an organ covering the the far corner. It was just this giant organ. There was nowhere to roll it to or push it to or move it to. Like she said, we were gonna have to lift it in order to pull it. If I had known this when I was buying the rug in the conversation, I probably wouldn't have bought the rug. I would have like asked for the price to be lower, but we were there. The situation was unfolding in front of us. We just had to go with it. And she said, don't worry, my husband can help, but he has just had a hand injury, so he can't help that much. And it just kept getting stranger and stranger. But finally, the husband comes, and Connor and I are like, let's just like really put our all into the first lift so that we can do this and go. And so my job was to pull the carpet, Connor's job was to lift the organ, and the husband was also lifting the organ. And so we counted down, 3, 2, 1, yank, lift, and it came free. And they were so surprised. They thought it was going to take a really long time, which again, like they never communicated that this was going to be an obstacle. But we did it. I rolled it up and we just like quickly started leaving. It was so funny. It was so, and the whole like few days after that, we kept saying like, we kept quoting back to each other, we just have to lift the organ, as if that's easy. Okay, next up we're going to talk about these chairs that I really love. They feel very beautiful and well suited to the room and everything. Love them. But oh my God, I had the weirdest time getting these chairs. Unlike the other items I've shown you so far, the actual pickup of the chairs went totally fine. It was the conversation where I tried to get the chairs. Basically, the lady would not tell me where she lived. It started by me saying, when would pickup work for you? And she said, I'm home all afternoon now until about 6. And I said, I think I could make it today. What's the address for pickup? And this is important because I don't know how long it's going to take me to get to the place. If it's an hour away, then I wouldn't have been able to make it that night. If it was closer, then maybe I could make it that night. I think this is reasonable information. We've agreed that I'm going to buy the chairs. We've agreed that I'm coming to get them. I now have to know where to go. But she just says, let me know when you're sure you're coming by and I'll send the address. And I say, could you tell me something that's nearby? I don't know how long it will take me to get there because I'm not sure where it is. She then says, if you tell me generally where you are, I might be able to give you an idea of how long you need to get here. And like, here's the thing, okay? I think it was an older woman who was just nervous about giving her address out, and I totally understand that. And I totally get how, like, unreliable people are on Facebook. Like, I have had so many times where I'm selling something and someone says that they're gonna come and they just don't, or they just fully stop responding, and I get it. Like, it's, like I said, it's ruthless. It's a ruthless experience. But at this point, like, if you want to sell a thing, you have to tell me where to get it. There's no way around this part of it. So I try to compromise and I say, would you do a drop off? Maybe that would be better because maybe she doesn't want to give me her address, but she could drop it off for me. They're 4 little chairs, like it'll be fine. I tell her the region of Halifax I'm in, and then I say I could pay an extra $10 for a drop-off, and that way you don't have to share your address. She says, I don't mind sharing my address if I know you're genuinely interested in looking at the chairs. And I'm like, how else can I signal to you that I'm interested? Like, I'm offering you extra money to drop them off. I've asked about dimensions. I've confirmed times when I could come. Like... She says, I've found with putting things on Marketplace that so many people say they're stopping by, asking for the address, and then not showing up. I'm sorry, but I'm not willing to deliver. It would probably take you 20 minutes to get to my place from where you are if the bridge is not backed up. So I then say, I totally understand. I find Facebook Marketplace to be very fickle. I'm trying to relate to her. I'm not sure what I can say to garner your trust, but I am very dedicated to picking up these chairs. And then she just responds with the address. She doesn't even say anything. She just puts the address. And I'm like, great. I'll be there at 5. And actually, I asked my brother to go and get them because I wasn't able to get there in time. So he picked them up for me. And there we are. She then messaged me that she got to meet my brother's best friend's dog and liked the dog a lot. So it all ended well, but it all just felt so insane in the coordination. It felt so silly. And I really felt like I wasn't going to get the chairs, but I'm glad that I prevailed because it was such a good deal. Okay, so we're going to talk about this mirror next. I think it's such a beautiful mirror. I'm very excited for it to go in the new vanity, and that's why it's kind of buried behind all this stuff, because it is lying in waiting. But it was probably the most unpleasant Facebook Marketplace experience I've ever had. My presiding memory of it was just that the woman was so mean. And I actually don't remember the video that I recorded, but I remember recording a video about the experience while it was happening. I am currently in the guest room because I am simultaneously redoing the flooring in my other room, but I am in 2 heated Facebook Marketplace purchasing situations, and it has me so frazzled. I have found it's like a breakthrough. A breakthrough is what I would call it. I have found these 2 things, a mirror and a cabinet, that would make the bathroom just amazing. One of them is sort of responding to me, but they respond so slowly, and they won't tell me the address where I should go pick it up. And so I'm just like, I feel like they don't care, but I care a lot. And then the other woman just hasn't even seen my message yet for the mirror, and I'm so scared someone's gonna snatch it up. So I'll keep you updated. Okay, everyone, it's about an hour later, and things are feeling a little sketchy. So the cabinet is the more important one, because mirrors you can buy. There's a lot of mirrors for sale. They're always coming up on Facebook Marketplace. I feel like this is a particularly good mirror, but mirrors are always coming up. Cabinets of this exact size and style, a lot more rare. And it feels like that is pretty much a done deal. I've set up a time to go pick it up, and so tomorrow the cards will fall where they may. But the mirror is being really sketchy. The woman, first of all, I was like, so it's $190. And I asked, would you take $150? And she said, I'd do $175. And I said, perfect, that's a deal. How about I send you $75 now via e-transfer to hold it, and then I will give you the other $100 once I've actually seen it and picked it up and I know it's real, etc. That way we're both happy. And she said, no, I have a lot of interest in the mirror, so I actually want you to send the entire amount. And if it was like $50, I feel like maybe I've done this before for like a lamp or something, where they just don't want people who are constantly falling through. But $175 is a lot of money. So I was like, okay, what is your address? Like, what's the address I'm going to? Because I was like, maybe I'll send her an e-transfer, but just give her the password to get the e-transfer completed when I show up, but she has auto deposit on. So I was like, okay, so I can't send her the full amount because I don't know if this mirror is real. Like, what if it's not? Maybe if I can just at least like know her address, I feel like I'm going somewhere, a bit more information, a bit more back and forth. And then, but then she said, I'll give you my address once you've sent me the full amount. So she's withholding everything. She won't let me see the mirror. She won't let me just do a partial payment first and then the rest payment later. She won't even give me her address, so now I feel like she's not real. And like it's a scam. And I feel like the chances of it being a scam are so slim. I think I found her on Instagram, so I feel like she's a real person. I feel like it's all normal, but it still feels sketchy under my bones. So I told her. I didn't use the word sketchy, but I was like, I have to be honest, this feels a little uncomfortable. Like, I feel like sending the entire amount when I haven't even seen the mirror and I don't even know your address, like it doesn't feel quite right. Is there a middle ground? Now the ball's in her court, and now I'm waiting for her response. I feel like I'm not going to get the mirror. I feel like she's not going to like that, but I don't like what she's doing. I also, because of this, I was like, well, how much does a mirror even, like, cost, like, if I were to buy it new? Like, if I can't find one on Facebook Marketplace. And I'm finding some really good mirrors around this $200 point. Some for actually, like, IKEA's got some pretty decent-looking ones for, like, $70. So I'm going to try and have an abundance mindset here, not a scarcity mindset. There's a lot of mirrors out there. I even have a mirror downstairs that I feel like I could repurpose. Do you think I should send her the $175?
No.
Okay. Right? She's being weird.
There are more mirrors in this world.
There are a lot of mirrors. With ladies selling them who are more reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember when I got her message, like, being like, am I being scammed? Maybe I'm just going to be honest and explain how I'm feeling so that she can see where I'm coming from and why I'm hesitating. She says, I really remember this is so funny. So an e-transfer is a legal binding agreement. Not sure people realize that. Police can easily access all my banking and personal info as soon as you send me something through an internet address. Just for future reference. Can you text me? And then gives me her cell phone number. If you can come today, soon would be good. I just think that that is such a warped and silly perspective on the world, because even if it is, I don't think that she's right, but she might be. Even if she's right though, what? I'm not gonna go and file a police report because I stupidly sent you $175 and you never gave me a mirror. Like, it would just be gone to the void. The amount of energy and effort and expense it would go to, like, litigate all of it wouldn't be worth it. So I think it's like a kind of a saying, well, you know, you can do this. And I'm like, not really, like, you technically can. But it would be illogical and unreasonable to do that. So I then texted her, and I think that the texting is what calmed her down, because she realized, like, I was a real person with a real phone number, and she then just told me the address. And I remember feeling a victory, because I got her to tell me the address before I sent her the money. Then I sent her the money, and I picked up the mirror that day. And actually my parents picked it up for me because they were in town on the day. And so it worked out. But it was so unpleasant. Like, the second you bring the police into it, it's gone. It's not pleasant anymore. It became unpleasant. Over the years, the memory will fade, but the mirror will live on. Okay, I'm excited to finish here because this is a story of fun whimsy. So basically, it's this little table here where I see, oh, your little legs are twisted. So this is the only Facebook Marketplace item that I've purchased where, like, it had a secret that I didn't know about when I bought it. None of the keywords in the title or the description made me think that it was musical. And I think maybe it did say musical, but I just thought, like, that was the style of, I wasn't thinking. The word, if it was there, meant nothing to me. But when I got into the car, I, like, purchased it. Everything went really smoothly, but I purchased it from the lady, and then when I got in the car and I opened it, it's a music box. I didn't see that coming. From a mile away! I've never heard of a table that's a music box. I've obviously heard of music boxes, but I've never heard of a musical table. And so if it was labeled musical table, which I don't think it was, I didn't see it. I think it was just called like antique hand carved table or something like that. Unfortunately, the musicalness of it never happened because I bought it for this spot and to have this little lamp on it. And you know, when you're sitting at this chair, you can put your coffee here or whatever. So it never becomes open. And it's kind of a weird thing to have a table that opens because the point of a table is to put stuff on the table. But I think it could be a place where you could keep things that you never need to get, like a passport. You could keep in there, I guess, and then occasionally once a year or twice a year when you need your passport, you get a musical surprise. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. It was so much fun to make, actually, going around the house and telling you my crazy little Facebook Marketplace stories. All of the items that I did get have, you know, joined the household. I love them all, even if they were weird to bring here. They are here now, and I'm grateful for them. So please let me know down in the comments your strangest or most annoying Facebook Marketplace story. Thank you again to Book of the Month for sponsoring this video. Check them out in the description, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!